Welcome back to Edgework, part of the Hammer Betting Network, presented by FanDuel. I'm Zack Phillips, joined by Alex Moretto and So Money Sports to break down tonight's 3 NHL games, give out best bets, answer questions from the chat, and take a look at the futures market. So we've got one ourselves we're going to bring up here today before the show closes out. We'll pick one goal scorer from every game. And if you guys have futures questions yourselves, hey, I'm looking at this, I'm wondering when's the buy point? Should I be buying on this? Is this something worth taking a look at? Send them in the chat here. We'll try to get to them throughout the course of the show. And obviously, as always, send your questions about each and every game. But before we get into anything, you guys know it. The NHL is back, and FanDuel is bringing you more action than ever because everyone knows hockey just hits different. Load up a power play with the hottest same-game parlays found on the Parlay Hub. Lace them up and follow your bets with player prop tracking, or bet on the fly with the Pulse. The hunt for the Cup starts here. Get more from the NHL with FanDuel, North America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers kick off season with $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just place any $5 bet. You'll get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Please play responsibly. You must be 18 plus, physically located in Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-866-531-2600. That's 1-866-531-2600 or visit connectsontario.ca. Yes, I see the comments. Brett, you're welcome. Wasn't sure the NHL was back. Now that we're past American Thanksgiving, though, boys, I think that we can say, the NHL is back. This is the NHL kind of checkpoint or barometer of like success for a team. Are you going to have a good season, bad season, etc.? Is typically American Thanksgiving, no?
Well, yes, and also the NHL went away on Thursday. There was no game, so the NHL is back.
Right. It is back. Yes, correct.
Yes, we are back after a long day off.
Yeah, it was a long day off. Waking up and not having the show was a very, very strange feeling at that point. I wake up and look at the schedule and like, oh, no games, like nothing. We couldn't have even gotten some Canadian teams playing each other at that point. That one, it's too bad. It's too bad. They need to find a way to appease us Canadians here in that day. It's not all about the States. Come on. Someone's just smirking.
I agree.
So Money took that Wednesday to go out and go to the club, though, for sure. Thursday morning, doesn't have to get up early for the show, so took advantage of that one.
No, I'm up early anyways. It's all good there, man.
All right, let's get to the games here today. We do have 3. We will answer your questions about them as well here. Let's go first and foremost to the Devils and Rangers game. New Jersey -126. The Rangers +105. Total of 6.5. -112 over. -108 under. So Money, what do you got for us in this game tonight?
I did bet the Devils. Nice. Look at the Rangers. Just because they won against Montreal, an emerging team, doesn't mean that that they're back or anything like that. I think that we can't gloss over the fact that the game, even in that Montreal game, you would think that a situation where you would have a big response, it was a coin flip game, right? And essentially, they could have easily lost that game. I didn't think that they played that well. And then the Devils, for the most part, have been playing well. They did. Their last game against Washington was not good for them, but I would expect the Devils to bounce back. And long term, looking at the Devils, they're not a team that I'm very concerned about at all. I think that we're going to have bumps on the road like this along the season, but for the most part, I think the Devils are totally fine here. So I did bet the Devils already. I do like them up to -130. I think it's a good situation for the Devils tonight.
Currently, I think the best number that we're going to get is -125 across the board. Take a look at BetStamp. Best price available is -125, and there are a ton of them out there right now. So that will be our first best bet of the day. And Moretto, you agree with this one?
Yeah, I had this one circled the second the Habs game ended on Saturday. So many said it for the most part, but I feel like I can expand on this a little bit more as someone who watched obviously that full Rangers Habs game start to finish. The Rangers are still a mess. They were terrible in that game. 5-on-5, they got caved in. The Habs, like the ice was tilted every time that that was at 5-on-5. The issue for the Habs, unfortunately, was that it wasn't played at 5-on-5 enough, where they couldn't somewhat stay out of the penalty box. Rangers scored in a 5-on-3 in the first period to get the game started. They scored another power play in the second period on one of the worst calls of the year, maybe. Like just the most regular hit behind the play that was called roughing. It was insane. And then they scored in a 5-on-4, a 4-minute power play late in the game too. Like at 5-on-5 though, they were handled. That all that win does really is kind of put lipstick on a pig. Like you're not going to fool us into thinking that this team is back. They're still very much a mess. They have not played a good game or turned in a good performance in quite a long time. Whereas the Devils, outside of those Caps games, because the Caps clearly seem to match up with them pretty well. And have had the ice pretty tilted when they go head to head. Outside of those games, the Devils have been rolling, and I think things are going to get worse before they get better for the Rangers here still. So yeah, this is still a really good spot for the Devils. I'm completely out on this Rangers team right now.
There you go. We will add that one in. Double best bet, first one of the day, -125 on the Devils. Albert punching air right now, just listening to us bash the Rangers, but deservingly so. Quick question here for you guys. I know on the show, typically we're giving out sides and totals, just money lines and totals here, basically. A lot of times we've seen in the chat, people have brought up puck lines and where they're at there. It's not something we've frequently given out. Belliser here, if I said that right, Devils puck line +200 is tempting to me. We obviously know that these are just derivatives of what the money line is, the side is in these games. I'm not even asking necessarily specifically on this game, but how often is it that either of you guys do seem to be finding value on puck lines? And how often is it that you're trying to get involved with those? Or is it something that mentally sometimes you're just like, hey, I don't want to be going out there and risking the -1.5 at said if the margin's too slim?
I don't get into them often, but like realistically, if you're showing value on a money line, you will show value on the puck line, just because of the fact that it is a derivative, obviously. And like maybe if you're playing like a bigger dog and you show value on the money line there, you still know that the chances of you winning that bet are still, obviously maybe higher than what the line is, but like still not quite like as high as maybe playing getting in on a puck line. We'll also obviously show value then on that, and then and maybe decide to like get involved in that situation. That's maybe times where I've done it, but for the most part, I'm sticking to the more. I'm not that that's not a main market. It is a main market, obviously, but like I'm sticking more to just the straight sides and totals.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar to when I was younger. I used to play the puck line, saying that there would be less juice that I have to pay.
Yes.
But I mean, like we know now that like that's a flawed way of thinking. So I mean, like now, I don't really bet the puck line at all. I'm just, if I like something, it'll be on the money line. I'm sure that there are situations where it does make sense to play the puck line. It's just not something that I've ever really seriously looked at beyond those early days.
Yeah, I do think that maybe honestly though, like just thinking about it right now. So yes, they're derivatives. I think maybe the times that I could be talked into it more so are like if there's like a little bit more narrative or something like that around it, where like, and maybe that's not the best way to get involved in stuff like this, but here is a spot where I can actually see it, where like you have one team that is clearly like trending down and another team that is trending up, and you can see this getting ugly. Yes, I like the money line, and I'm happy to just sit there and bet the -125 or whatever it's at right now and ride that out. But like, yeah, maybe there is a clear pathway to this being like a very ugly game for the Rangers where they just get completely handled. And maybe it does make more sense in spots like this to pick out some of those puck lines. Something I probably actually should be doing a little bit more research into and looking into that more, but I don't.
I just thought it was interesting because it's not something like I didn't really think about it until it was asked. It's not something that we really do or track or give out here that frequently. I know Albert had one, I think, last week, and that was the first one that we've kind of seen for us in a while here on the show of giving out these puck lines. And then I saw it brought up in the chat there again. I just thought it was kind of interesting that that's not something that we've done. I was curious your thought processes behind that, but hopefully that kind of gives some people a little bit of insight on what So Money and Moretto are doing on a daily basis there, and maybe why they haven't dug into it too much. Next game, Blackhawks and Maple Leafs. We've got Chicago plus 310, the Maple Leafs minus 400, a total of 6.5 plus 112 over, minus 140 under. Moretto, I will let you take the lead here on this one. Do you have anything in this, and do you have any interest at all?
No, it's just like Chicago on a back in the second half of a back-to-back. Pretty terrible spot for them, obviously, against the Leafs team that's sitting pretty comfortably right now. I'm definitely going to be looking for spots to like, not that I think the Leafs aren't a good team, but like they're obviously playing a bit over their heads right now. Just like looking at their numbers and their underlying numbers and everything and where they're at. There's definitely a little bit of regression that's going to come here, just based on the fact that they're really not creating a lot of offense. Defensively, they still remain very good, but like their goaltending has been well above league average, and I don't necessarily know that it should be. Offense hasn't been generating, but they've been producing still. So like I do feel like there's maybe a pathway to them tailing off a little bit, but like, yeah, this is not even remotely a spot with, Soderblom and the Hawks on a back-to-back where I have interest in starting that trend. So nothing for me here.
So Money, any interest for you?
I do. And just hear me out here, right? Arvid Soderblom, right? You go back and you look at his numbers this year, right? He's not terrible, right? I think we're seeing kind of the way that I'll call it the Jonas Johansson effect, right? Like he's so bad that even when he is just slightly better than very bad, it looks really good, right? So, and like I think that's where my edge is here in this game, because we're seeing this line um as if the Leafs are just going to cave the Blackhawks, which I mean they might end up doing anyways. But how many times have we seen this from the Leafs, right? Like they will probably just do enough to win this game, which means the Blackhawks are going to be hanging around. And if I don't think that Soderblom is horrific, then the edge for me here is on the under. So I did bet the under. We're going to get Stolars in net, which is great. And the Leafs, even though, just want to pull up the Leafs offensive generation here. Yeah, so just what I suspected, right? They haven't been generating as well offensively lately, and we know the Leafs are a very good defensive team. So I think that, and in a situation where they really don't need to do too much theoretically to win this game, and if Soderblom gets us even a bad performance, I think that's good enough for us to get the under.
All right, there you go. Under 6. I'm trying to find where we can get best price here for you. So Money on FanDuel, actually, you know what? This is a good way to promo this. A lot of times we show the 6.5s or the 5.5s that are heavily juiced on either side. If you go into the game prop section of the game and you scroll down, you can find total goals flat line in there. Scroll down to under 6. You got a minus 104 on tonight's game. Does that work for you there? So Money under 6 minus
Beautiful.
104. Would you rather play
Absolutely.
yeah. So there you go. That's actually something I wish I had found myself a while ago while doing this show, but perfect. Under 6 minus 104. Another best bet locked in here for today. That one courtesy of FanDuel and So Money.
I thought we had just talked about like puck lines and all that, and the way So Money was teeing that up, I thought he was gonna be like, so give me a Blackhawks plus 1.5. I was gonna feel like this is amazing.
I thought so too. That was where I thought that one was going.
Yeah.
Always keep you guys on your toes.
Yeah, you really are.
All right, there you go. There's the first one, first one, and this one, first one we find of the flat 6s on FanDuel. Next game of the night we'll take a look at, and final game of the night, Dallas Stars, Utah Hockey Club. The Stars currently minus 142, Utah Hockey Club plus 118, a total of 6.5, minus 102, over, minus 120, under. Moretto. The Starettos, are you backing them here tonight?
Starettos, they have been a very interesting case where they're still playing very good. I still fully buy into this team, but goaltending has been a little bit of an issue for them lately. And it's like, seems to be like when they step down in class, or just like not, I don't know. Albert was said this the other day. Maybe he's like semi onto something, because like he talked about
That would be a
how
first.
they play. I know they play down to their competition, and literally since he said that, it's like they're coming out beating the Avs, beating the Jets. Playing a great game against Carolina. Goaltending just kind of sewered them there, beating Tampa in Tampa, and then they're like losing to Anaheim, struggling against San Jose, losing to the Blackhawks. So this is a very strange thing that's going on with this team right now. It seems like they're not getting up for some of these games, which makes it a little bit nervy to back them in this spot. But like price wise here, I mean, look, I'm obviously very high on this Dallas team. I do like the number conceptually at these minus 132s, and I strongly would lean that way. And it's probably likely that I will get involved. Even with them, I understand that they are on a back-to-back here, and Utah is not. But like, I do like this at this number. Haven't bet it yet or got involved yet. I want to see who's starting here for sure for Utah. I would expect Vejmelka to be in there, but I'll probably end up on it. I'm still not bought into Utah. I don't think when they step up in class like this that they're able to hang with these big guns. And this is obviously a spot for that. As long as Dallas doesn't play down to their competition again, I think this should be a comfortable win here. So I lean that way. Haven't bet it yet, but I feel like I likely will get involved in one way or another before the day is done.
How are you feeling about this one right now, So Money?
It's really tough for me to get involved here because I do agree on the sentiments about Dallas here. They do play down to their opponents, and coming off of Winnipeg on a back-to-back, we know that. Did I freeze?
Just for a split second.
All right. So on against Winnipeg, we knew that Dallas wanted that game, right? And now coming into tonight, I tend to shy away from these situations where you clearly have a better team with Dallas, and the number does make sense on Dallas, but it comes down to strictly what they feel like they want to do in this game. If Dallas wants to come out and play well, they're going to win this game. Utah, on the other hand, we saw them. That was probably the most undeserving 6-0 game that I've ever seen in my life. Their win against Vegas. So it's not as if they're playing particularly well either. So I will sit this one out just because I don't know what we're going to get out of Dallas here. This could be a situation where if Dallas is skating early, you may want to consider a live bet in this game. But it's just going to strictly come down to I don't know how that team is going to come out.
So here's the two best bets so far that we have for tonight. Devils moneyline minus 125, Blackhawks Leafs under 6 minus 104, courtesy of FanDuel. We're going to get to a future here, a futures bet, and we will get to the anytime goal scorers. So you guys send your goal scorers in the chat here now. But before we get into any of that, Charles asking, or early, right off the top of the show, Ovi back skating today. What's the biggest injury you guys have gutted out playing on the ice? So Money, do you have one in mind?
I've got a few playing hurt. I get I don't really consider taking time off for anything. So there's been many times where I've just kept playing. I got cross-checked in the back when I was younger. I was like 15 years old. I still feel it. It was playing ball hockey, and then got the gym set up, and you had the doors to like the gym, but somebody didn't close the gym door properly, and then so like I was against the wall, and then I got like cross-checked like hard, and then I went like right through the gym doors because like it wasn't secured closed. So like I still feel that in my back sometimes. But yeah, that's been, and I just kept playing. So looking back, I probably should have got that taken care of back then, but here we are now.
Moretto, do you have one?
I thought So Money was going to talk about maybe his time during the World Juniors or something when he
he
got injured, not like nothing crazy. Once I I didn't even I wouldn't call it like playing through. I don't know. I guess it was, but I didn't even realize it at the time. Like I went down to block a shot, and like the way I landed on my shoulder, I had like fractured my collarbone, but I didn't even realize it like in the moment. And I played the rest of the game, and then I went home and everything was fine. And then the next, like I woke up in the middle of the night and I couldn't even move my arm, and that was then I was in a sling for like 6-8 weeks, whatever. But I wasn't like playing through pain because it didn't hurt when I did it. It just felt like I landed awkwardly and like I guess adrenaline's going and you didn't even really realize it.
Yeah, I mean, I will knock on wood here, obviously. I know all three of us are still playing. I have not had like a serious one. The worst was the just separated shoulder. The first like couple of times like I've done it a bunch now. The first couple of times it was like whatever, and then it was in my final year of minor hockey, and I had it in that season, and I was like, what am I gonna do? Like miss games here? Like no, I just had it taped up, Tylenol, Motrin, whatever I could be taking, and was good to go. But yeah, that's probably the worst. That was brutal when it was like the first times after it happened.
Oh man,
You
the
know, you're
first few
laying in
times you do it
bed,
are
you gotta.
so bad. So bad.
Yes.
It gets so like stiff. And when it's out, you're like it's so
Yeah.
uncomfortable. It's horrible. Yeah. Mine got so loose, my shoulder, that I dislocated it like in the backyard at my parents' house, like on Thanksgiving, just like playing with my little cousins, just like, rough housing and just like throwing balls, like throwing football and stuff like that. And it just like it just slid out and then it just would slide right back in after. It's so that's the worst. I've done a lot of physio work on that, and I had like gone like 5 years without dislocating it again. And then it happened like January earlier this year again. It's like, oh no, we're back. We're back.
Not those are the worst, man. That goes, and then your just whole body's cramped. You're overcompensating for everything. Yeah, not good. Sleeping stuff. All right, let's go to some awards here, and some futures. So money. There's one that you were looking at here today when you woke up and said, "I've got to be talking about this on Edgework today." What is it?
Yeah. So can we pull up the price here? I've got the.
Yes. Let me just get to that there. I've got it for you. There you go. Bang. 100-1.
Is it 100-1? Yeah. Right. We got to do it here. So I did bet it. John Tortorella to win Jack Adams. You guys know that this doesn't come easy for me here because I'm not a fan of him as a person or as a coach, or I should say as a person from what I know, and like as a coach, I don't really agree with a lot of things, but it just makes too much sense. You look at the Flyers; they currently hold down the second wildcard spot, and you look at the teams around them. We know who the Rangers are, kind of, right? And we know that they're not as good as. Actually, they are performing as poorly as we've expected them to perform the last few years. It's coming to fruition now, and so the Rangers currently occupy that first wild card spot. If they think that they're just going to turn it around, they're in danger of missing the playoffs altogether, right? So there's that Rangers team. When we talk about, well, if the Flyers make the playoffs, who is going to drop out from last year, right? So I would look at the Rangers as a possibility. We know how I feel about the Bruins. I don't necessarily think the Bruins are going to miss the playoffs, but I do think that the Bruins are probably going to be around that wild card spot. Tampa Bay, I expect Tampa Bay to do a lot better going forward. I think Tampa Bay will get into the top 3 in that division, which means the Bruins are going to be probably one of the 2 wildcard teams. And you look at that second wildcard, right? So Ottawa was where I had, or kind of in that area, but I was probably wrong on Ottawa. I think that we need to face that here. Right, and that's the sign of maturity, right? You got to know when you're wrong. So Ottawa, I was
trying
probably
to warn you.
Yeah, I was probably too high on Ottawa. I still think that. Yeah, we'll talk about Ottawa another time. But I was probably too high on them going into the season. Pittsburgh, we know that they're not going to get back to the wild card spot. Islanders, we've talked about the Islanders ad nauseum here. Columbus is overperforming right now. I do expect them to struggle. So you look at who can possibly get that wild card spot, and why not the Flyers? And if the Flyers do make the playoffs, then that Tortorella ticket is very, very valuable. So, yeah, especially at 100 to 1, I think that makes a ton of sense. And I'm reading Mike's comment there about this is where the Flyers were last year, and I think that bodes well for them. I think that it'll probably they'll put themselves in a situation where they can address kind of what went wrong last year. It was a young team that did hit the wall. Maybe they'll make some additions in the deadline. Maybe just through the course of their maturity, they'll be able to better handle that kind of when the wall hits for younger players around January.
Sam there also saying, I actually think the Flyers are a little underrated by the market.
Yeah.
There you go. We add this to the sheet here as well. We go, if you want to track all the futures that we have and that we're going to be rooting for, or at least have some type of interest in throughout the rest of the season, we do have the link sent there in the chat. So you guys can click on that, see what we've got, where we got it, what the prices were, what date those were locked in. And you can also see person by person who has each of these futures, who's rooting for what, and then what are we looking for as an entire show on there. So make sure to check that one out. Moretto, are there any futures that have caught your eye? I know you gave out Bednar not too long ago. We're kind of building a portfolio here of Jack Adams winners. So at some point, we're just going to have 32 and we can't go wrong by the end.
We'll win one of them.
But other than that, I mean, no pressure if not. Is there anything that you've looked at and be like, hey, that's sticking out to me?
Yeah, so I do want to get involved in the Pacific Division, and I just need to figure out the best time to enter the market here, and I want to split like maybe 1.5 units or so, and maybe like one on the Oilers and half a unit on the Kings, something like that. That's where I'm kind of at to like get involved. But basically, as a fade of the Knights, who I don't believe in at all, I really don't buy into this Knights team. Obviously, like I do like the Canucks, but they're not at a point where I can take them seriously as contenders to win the division. Obviously I still think long term they should be okay. Hopefully they can get Demko back in some capacity and figure this thing out. But in terms of their like chances to win the division, I'm just not there on them. Really want to fade this Knights team. The Oilers, I think this is probably like they haven't fully put it together yet, but it's coming. And I do think this is definitely the best team in the division. And the Kings are right there with them. If they can just get the goaltending, like they're playing great hockey still. They're right there in the mix right now. And they're going to be getting Doughty back soon. And that is massive. Like they've been playing this well without him. That, 650 is a really big number for a team that I think is right there with the case alongside just below the Oilers, has I think the best roster in this division. It's just a matter of, can they get the goaltending to stay in this race? But yeah, I'm definitely going to be backing both of those teams in this Pacific Division. I'm just kind of waiting for my spot here to get involved. But I mean, if you're watching this now, and I don't know if we're going to revisit this at one point yet soon, or like when I do end up betting it, but like I'll try and remember to talk about it when I do. But like I'm fine getting involved now, honestly. Like 165, I don't know how much better you're going to get at any point soon. Anyways, I don't think any of these teams are capable of pulling away, and it's just a matter of time before the Oilers figure it out. And the Kings, like I mean, we're going to run out of time here before the market starts to catch on to them. This is a really, really good hockey team, and they're going to start getting healthier soon. I'm very in on this Kings team in this futures market.
So we'll add a full unit plus 165 Oilers Pacific Division there for tracking purposes. And then we will also go Kings Pacific Division winner half unit. So obviously following along with the course of the show, $100 on Oilers Pacific plus 165, 50 on Kings plus 650. So there you go. There are some futures added to the portfolio here today. Let's wrap up here with our goal scorers and see what you guys have, what you guys are looking at for today. There's a couple that were sent here, and I will go through them. We'll get one from each game. First, Jordan Bedard plus 310. That is the first one that was sent here. Any agreement, disagreement, or is there anyone you guys like in those games outside of that?
Bedard figured stuff out a little bit yesterday, or so they're saying.
So they're saying.
290 FanDuel. I mean, I'm not rushing to bet it personally.
Okay. So money, is there anyone else that you're looking at?
Wyatt Johnston is going to score a goal tonight.
All right. Well, then automatically that one is in. Wyatt Johnson, anytime goal.
For those of you who
Plus 220.
you guys aren't in the, obviously we have a little Edgework chat, and the other day So Money came in there on Saturday and said Michael Esimont will score tonight, and he did score.
Yeah, I bet it.
Absolute laser. That was a shot and a half.
I was pretty happy with that one. Thank you, So Money. So there you go. Wyatt Johnson, that is one. We're going to need one from the Leafs game, and we're going to need one from the Devils game. Let's see. We'll go.
How about Stefan Noesen from the Devils playing top line with Heischer and Meyer?
Yep. Like that.
There was a Heischer suggestion as well, but I do like Noesen.
And Timo Meyer as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Meyer,
Heischer, and
I'm trying to find the
Noesen
numbers.
are top line.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the numbers. Noesen's
320.
Meyer 210, and Heischer 200. You want to just go with the Noesen? I'm good with that. That's two. We need a final one. There was a Marchment goal from Hal. That was the only one, other one. But where are we at on
apparently
the
it's Nason.
Nason.
Apparently it's Nason.
All right, my
not
bad.
The first name I butchered, not the last name I'll butcher.
Let's go last one. We need one from Leafs Blackhawks. Anyone either of you guys like?
Bertuzzi, the revenge goal.
So who's going to score the 1-0 goal in overtime in this game?
Bert. Bert comes back
I'm good with Bertuzzi.
Against his old team.
Plus 500. Yeah. In. Plus 500. There you go. These are the three that we've got. And guys, this might be the one.
This actually might be the one.
Johnson.
This is the one.
Nason. And Tyler Bertuzzi. If you go $10 on this, pays you $796. As for our sides and totals here, we've got currently Devils money line minus 125 and Leafs Blackhawks under 6 minus 104. That's it for the show here today. We had Tortorella Coach of the Year, Jack Adams. We had Oilers Pacific Division plus 165 full unit. We had Kings Pacific Division plus 650 half unit. So those are futures added to the sheet. And outside of that, I think we've got some winners here, guys. Again, goal scorers, Johnson, Nason, Bertuzzi. Plus, I'm not even going to say it, 79-1, basically, almost 80-1. If you enjoyed the show here today, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel, turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. We appreciate all the support. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We will be back tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time for more picks and previews. Across the network here today, we have Hit the Books, 5 o'clock, recapping another winning weekend for them, teeing up conference championship weekend. Then later today, Forward Progress, live watch along in studio, breaking down everything going on with tonight's Monday night football game. You're not going to want to miss those. Make sure to subscribe across the channels, across the network. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in. We appreciate it. As always, that'll do it for us. Catch us back here tomorrow, same time. Until then, enjoy the games tonight. Good luck on your bets.